Yo, what's going on? This is the youngest in charge, Leon Slater, and you're listening to the Sports Jedi Network. You get me?
You're watching Jedi Sports Network with Kev.
I'm Tom Hannafin from TNA Wrestling. You're watching the Jedi Sports Network.
Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you.
What's up, Kevin? It's me, Miles Bourne. I just wanted to come on here real quick and say thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and the fact that you're there every Tuesday really means a lot to me, man.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. The gold standard is a true fan theory. I'm your host, BX Sports Jedi Kev, along with Haas Knuckle Brew. And today we have a special guest. Not just for myself on a personal level. Me and my wife both been fans of this young lady. We've seen her journey every Tuesday for 2 years when she was in her other previous place. I want to welcome the one and only Elayna Black joining us here. Good afternoon, Ms. Black. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me and for your support. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Haas is with us. This is my partner and co-host, Haas Knuckle Brew.
Awesome. Happy to be here. Nice to meet you guys.
All right. Nice to meet you, Elayna.
Haas, I give you the honors with the first question.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, Elayna, this is a health-related question.
Okay, give it to me.
Okay, we're getting ready for Slammiversary, and fans would like to know, what's a day in the life for you going with a meal plan, workouts, and sleep schedules? How does that work out for you?
Okay, very good question. Honestly, starting number one, my sleep schedule, I'll be honest, is not great. Like, I'm a night owl, so I like to stay up pretty late. But I've been trying to become a morning person, so we'll try to switch that up and see how that goes. But a typical day for me is pretty chill, especially at this time of the year, gearing up for Slam. We got lockdown in Chicago coming up shortly after too, which is my hometown. It's going to be a big show too. So just when it gets to this time of the year, when you got to lock in and really focus and everything like that, it's about waking up, going to the gym, eating good. Personally, me, I struggle to gain weight. I just have a fast metabolism, and I've always been like that my whole life. But I'm trying to put on muscle and work on getting into more calories and gaining size and being the best version of me possible for not only Slam but for the rest of the year. So that's kind of all my day's been. I wake up, I make a good breakfast, go to the gym, come back, hang out with my dogs, eat again, and try to watch some wrestling, jot some ideas, rhinestone my gear, and yeah, the wrestling's my life right now, so I'm pretty locked in.
All right. So what's for breakfast for you? Steak and eggs?
Honestly, I'm trying to work up to that. I'm so bad at having an appetite in the morning. So right now it's been a bacon, egg, and cheese because it's easy, quick, all protein, fat, carbs all together in one thing. Then I hit the gym. It's the perfect thing to go to. But I do tend to, when I like something, I wear it out until I hate it. So I'm sure I'm going to be eating bacon, egg, and cheeses for a few more weeks, and then I'll never touch one again. But we'll see.
Gotcha. Sounds delicious.
Now, I want to ask this question. I know you were talking about your looking into Slammiversary and Lethal Lockdown in Chicago. I've seen your different version of you. Can you describe the current version of Elayna Black? I've seen your past, and believe me, we have really enjoyed it. But I'm excited to hear the current version of this maturation here in TNA.
Yeah, I think obviously there's still bits and pieces of who you are, as the years go on, and it just builds to your character. But I think in the beginning of my career, not only in the indies before I got to WWE, but even in my beginning times in NXT, I think it was about just kind of figuring out who I was. And I think I have always been a very creative person. And I try to think outside the box and look at, maybe what's not being done right now that I could be doing, or, something that I think that fans would enjoy. I think I've always kind of been good at navigating that. But, in the beginning, I got signed very young. I was 19 years old. I dropped out of high school to become a wrestler. So wrestling was, my whole life. So getting there that young and kind of trying to navigate not only being in that big of a spotlight and a career and everything like that, but also just navigating life as a teenager, early 21 years old. It's very difficult, but it was also such a great learning experience, and I think it made me who I am. But in the beginning, I think I lacked confidence in regular life and on character, and I think it showed a little bit. And as time has gone on, I think I've really found out who Elayna Black is and what I bring to the table and what I, do well and what I don't do well, and how to connect with the fans and what works for me and everything like that. So I think the big difference right now is I know who I am, I know what my goal is, and I'm very confident. And that's something that I think I hadn't felt in a very long time. So it's a nice place to be in.
All right, Elayna, this current character that you have has a certain level of arrogance or confidence, if you will. So, how does the Knockouts locker room? How should they be? How should they be ready for you to get prepared for you, especially for Slammiversary when they have this championship title on the line? But they should be prepared for you. Let everyone know why that should be happening.
Exactly. You said all the right things. I will say, I think TNA has an incredible knockouts division. I think every single woman in that locker room is extremely talented. I think we all have a very common goal and kind of unspoken understanding of that we all love wrestling. We all love TNA. We all want TNA to succeed, and we all want to go out there and be better than the next girl who was out there earlier in the show. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very healthy competition environment, but also we all just want to see each other succeed. But with that being said, I will say, and I've said this before, I gave these girls a long time without me, to prepare for me to come through. I stopped by for a little bit when I was with NXT and kind of gave them a taste of what it would be like if I were to be here full time. And hey, that was about a year before I actually signed here. So I gave them a long time to prepare for Elayna Black and to get better than me. And but being honest, I don't think that that's been the case. So I'm here now. I'm here to stay. I'm here to take over the division. And if anyone wants to try to be better than me, the floor is yours. I'm all here for the competition. But the bottom line is, it's the era of Elayna, and that TNA Knockouts title is going to be mine.
Statements have been made. Knockouts division, you are unnoticed now.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask this here. Knowing you're talking about your time, seeing some familiar faces in the locker room, how easy was the transition with a lot of the different knockouts, like Hartwell, like Mara Sade and others? How easy was it to have that transition just to get into the TNA locker room itself?
Yeah, honestly, it was a lot easier of a transition than I thought it would be. Just because me as a person and just who I am, I'm very I don't know if the word is shy, but it takes a while for me to open up, and I kind of keep to myself for a while and just kind of observe and stuff like that. And so I didn't really know like how I was gonna fit into the knockouts division, especially when you're around. I was around the WWE girls for almost 5 years, so just coming from a whole entire different group and kind of hoping that you're going to be welcomed into this new family is a little bit nerve-wracking. But honestly, it was could have been better. Like, the girls are so welcoming, and the girls that have been there forever and have been there for years and kind of know how the locker room works and everything like that. They were very welcoming to me, and were always there to help me if I needed anything and stuff like that. So it's been very nice to just kind of be welcomed like that. With that being said, I still am better than all of them, but I will say that I appreciate how open and welcoming and everything that they have been. But it is nice to have the familiar faces, like you said. In Indy Hartwell, I don't even know if I want to get into that because she's been irritating me lately. Me and her are going through some things, but as all friends do, every friendship has some bumps in the road. So maybe we'll get through it. Maybe we won't. I don't know. She's on my SHIT list right now, but maybe we'll move past that. But besides that, she is somebody who I had been friends with before I had even gotten to WWE, and we both have a very similar story of just two kids who were nerds who loved wrestling and just wanted to be wrestlers, and both made it to the same place. I mean, hell, she came all the way from Australia, which is, more common now, but it's a lot harder for people to do it. And she did it, and she's killing it. And it's nice to be around someone who I've been through so much with, who has seen me at every level of my life and career, pretty much, like in these past few years. and to just have that, be able to work with her and everything like that is very nice. Same with Mara and all the other, like Ariana Grace when she comes by. These all girls that I had worked with and really enjoyed my time with. So it's nice to still be able to see them. And when people do come by from NXT, or when if eventually they do come over to TNA, it's very nice.
Gotcha.
All right. In a previous answer, you said something about rhinestoning your gear, Elayna. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What inspires the fashion of your in-ring attire? And is there something special being cooked up for Slammiversary?
There is definitely something special being cooked up for Slammiversary, as well as Lockdown in Chicago. So two big shows coming up, two big years coming out. But honestly, what kind of inspires me, I feel like, is kind of just what I like to wear in regular life, and then I kind of turn it into a wrestling version. I think in the beginning, when I first started out in NXT, I've always been like kind of dressed like a tomboy, wearing Converse, jeans, stuff like leather jackets, stuff like snapbacks, stuff like that. So it was very easy for me to kind of go with that at first because that's just who I was. And then as my style has evolved, as I've grown just as a person outside of wrestling too, I think my style in wrestling has changed too. But I definitely get a lot of inspiration from like the music world. I love music. I have a crazy variety music taste. I'll listen to pretty much anything except country, but hip hop is like my go-to, and I'm a very big Future fan. So a lot of times I'll kind of look and see what he wears on tour or what he wears to events, and I just think he always looks cool, and like he has his vibe, and I think it's cool when someone has like their signature look. So a lot of times I'll get inspiration from stuff that he wears, or like different album covers, or if I hear a song that kind of like sparks something in my head, I'll be like, oh, that's kind of makes me think of this. Like, let me jot this down. But yeah, a lot of it just comes from my personal style, and also just getting inspiration from things I enjoy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of styles and your inspiration, this one's a different one. I want to ask you, throughout your journey, what lessons have you learned through your journey in professional wrestling that helps you now in these days? If you could talk to a younger Elayna Black, what I know your story's still far from complete, but what would you tell yourself at this moment?
Ooh, it's a very good question. Honestly, I think, and this is something I've thought about just recently, reflecting and everything like that, because I feel like I'm at a good place in life in my career. So I try to just reflect and be grateful and everything like that. But I feel like the hardest, you said that was the question, the hardest thing?
The hardest, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
What I
Like,
give is, I
you
would
know,
say, yeah, I feel like I would tell myself to slow down, because I think that's something for a long time I didn't do, because I was always, not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I was always worried about what's next or what's coming after this, or not really enjoying the moment and realizing how cool some of the things that I was doing really were until after they were already over, because it was just, life moves so fast, and especially in this business it gets chaotic and can be stressful at times. But I think I would tell myself to just slow down and enjoy it, because this is all I ever wanted to do since I was 8 years old. I would lay in bed and dream about this stuff. So I think a lot of times for a few years I would let the stress overtake me, and I wasn't really appreciating it and enjoying it in the moment. And that's what I've looked back on, and I don't want to say regret, because I try to have no regrets, and I think everything happens for a reason. But I would definitely tell myself just slow down and enjoy it, because you never know when it could end. And life is great, the good and the bad. It all makes life what it is. So I think that's what I tell myself, to slow down and enjoy it, which is what I'm telling myself now too. But if I could definitely tell my younger self that, I would.
so you're in the gratitude stage.
100%. 100%. I think it's very
I
good
love
to
to
be
hear
in.
that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
All right. Elayna, you are a big time talent, and
Thank you.
you're being propped up to be a top tier carrier of the TNA flag. So, what do you do to unwind or to prepare for a big moment as of Slammiversary, maybe an hour or two before a big match or performance?
Hmm. Honestly, I think because I tend to get very stressed out before my matches. I think just because I care so much, and I don't know. I've always thought with time, and as I've gotten older and been doing this long enough, I've been doing this. I started training when I was 15. I'm 25 now, so it's been about 10 years of me being involved in this. I kind of thought that the nerves and stuff would go away as time goes on, but at least for me, it hasn't. And I think that's just because I care so much and I want it to be good and I want to be proud of my work and I want to be able to look back um, and look at stuff I did and be happy with it. So I think a lot of times I'm so nervous that I don't again, like I said, I don't let myself just sit and slow down and, kind of appreciate what's going on. So lately I've really been trying to do that. Before my matches, I'll go sit and find a corner in the arena that is quiet and, no one's in, and I'll just put my headphones in, I'll stretch for a little bit and I'll try to just lock in and zone in and kind of put myself in the Elayna Black mindset, because when I'm me, I'm just Brie and I'm very quiet and I just love wrestling and I keep to myself and I'm just me. So I have to kind of force myself to turn on that switch right before I go out and kind of put myself in the mindset of, all right, this is time for Elayna Black. Like, I'm about to go out there and kill this and be the best version of me and everything like that. So it's sitting for a little bit, kind of getting inspiration, feeling zoned in from whether it's a song or a good inspirational video, and just reminding myself that, hey, I'm about to go out there and I'm going to be in the curtain and be Brie and put my sweatpants back on and go back to my little corner.
Right.
Right. Let me ask this question here. What do fans misunderstand about Elayna Black? I know you mentioned about you being to your reserve, but what is that? Why do fans misunderstand you?
Good question. um I think the most obvious answer is because I have an OnlyFans platform, which is a very I don't know if it's taboo, this is the word you would say, or stuff like that. But I think a lot of people look at that and immediately, I don't know if it's lose respect for me or don't take me seriously or whatever that is, just because they have misconceptions of it or whatever. But I think if you have the ability to and you're comfortable and it's your life and your body and you are allowed to do whatever you want with it. And if you're not harming anybody and I like to have fun and do cute photo shoots and post it and stuff like that. And I don't see any harm in that, And if you want to support that, that's great. And I appreciate it. But if you don't, that's fine too, no harm, no foul. But I think a lot of the misconception is that I don't love wrestling because I have an OnlyFans, or I don't take it seriously or anything like that. And I think that that's just so ridiculous, because I absolutely love wrestling so much and I'm blessed to be able to make a living with the income from another source as well, which I think a lot of people, if they could, they would. And I think a lot of it also just stems from that. And people like to talk about what they don't understand. And I've gotten to the point in my life where I really don't care what people say either. So, it is what it is. I appreciate the support, but if you don't support it, that's totally fine too. And I think I would say another misconception is I think I'm just very blunt and I tell it how it is. And I just like to be very real. And I don't know if everybody always likes that or likes to hear that, or, I think maybe it kind of makes some people uncomfortable, but that's just kind of always how I've been. And I don't plan on changing anytime soon. So again, like I said, if you support me and you ride with me, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you don't and you don't get it, that's fine too. But, I think it's important that we all in life just try to take a step back and see someone's whole life and story and everything like that before you judge them. My opinion.
All right, final question, House.
All right, Elayna, I think Slammiversary is going to be a big spectacle for new fans to find out who you are.
Oh,
And
100%.
I would like them to find out what's the mindset that goes into the finishing move that you chose to knock people out with, and how does it define the aura of Elayna Black?
Ooh, lots of good questions. So I think my finisher now is kind of just kind of I don't know, I wouldn't say an elevation or just like a different version kind of what I was doing before, because I used to do the double underhook DDT, and I started doing that because I was a huge Shield fan growing up. I loved John Moxley now, but at the time, Dean Ambrose. I was a huge fan of him. So I knew when I started wrestling, I wanted to kind of, which I think I've implemented a little bit here and there. I wanted to do something as like an ode to him because he inspired me to be a wrestler so much. So I knew I wanted to add in something as like a little thing to him. So I was like, I'm not super athletic. I can't do a moonsault. I can't do a lot of crazy stuff. So I was like, hey, that seems easy enough. It looks cool. It's devastating. You know, it's his signature thing. It makes me feel like I was, doing this for John Moxley when I first started wrestling and stuff like that. So that was when I first started doing it. That was kind of the mindset. I thought it was just a badass move. You could do it to everybody. And then just as I've evolved with time and as the years have gone on, I was just kind of trying to evolve it a little bit. I didn't want to keep doing the same thing, but I did. I think it's a great, you hook someone right there and they're not moving. So I liked having that position, but I wanted to kind of try to find something that was a little more maybe devastating and kind of new and unexpected. And, people hadn't seen me do it before. So I was like, what can we do here? Hooked them, turn it into a neck breaker, and they're done. So that's what we got right now. I'm loving it. I hope people are enjoying watching me win with it, and I don't plan on losing anytime soon. So keep getting ready to see that move because it's the era of Elayna, and that's what it is.
You do it with swagger and in a level of smoothness, so you have made it your own.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be watching Elayna the world and on this Slammiversary and legal lockdown. I hope you go into Chicago with the knockout title. So all the best of luck. We appreciate your time here on the Sports Jedi Network. Again, from my wife wanted to say hello. We've been watching your career from NXT and all the way when you won tag team gold with Roxy at that time.
There it is. It's right there.
There it is. We were in the building. We were in the building cheering loud. Yeah, we used to sit behind a guy with the Mets gear and when you on the other side. But all in all, we appreciate the time and thank you so much again. That is Elayna Black here on the Sports Jedi Network. We'll be watching and we'll be rooting always. Thank you, May the sports be with you.
Thank you so much.
Elayna.